Okay, now we're getting ready to start one of our next major projects for the pledge that I've got. I'm running behind on my pledge for June, but I just got the infantry squad finished and photographed, and now we're going to move on to one of the major pieces in my army, which is the Sherman tank. And you know, it's no mystery that this is kind of like a centerpiece of an average American player's army. At least it should be, because the Sherman is so iconic, and it's such a good tank. It's such a good tank to bring to your army. It really does well. I don't want to spend a lot of time going into that right now, but this is a 1/56th scale Warlord Games Sherman, and when we first got into deciding we were going to play bolt action, I split the D-Day Firefight box set with someone else, and he kept the German stuff in the rule books, and I took the Americans. And the owner of the gaming store that we play at, he likes to break things up out of boxes, and there was a Sherman platoon that was a box set of 3 Shermans, and I guess what he did is he split it up, and he had the Shermans for sale separately, just in the plastic bags sitting on the rack. So I bought one of the Shermans. It was a perfect purchase for me. And I wanted to paint as many things as possible, as quickly as possible, to get them on the board so we could play. And I started hand painting the Sherman, and it became quite apparent that it wasn't up to the level that I wanted it to be. It's more like the way I was painting whenever I was fiddling around with Warhammer 40K stuff a number of years ago, and I'd seen so many different photographs and blogs where people were painting up armor, and historical armor, the methods to paint it those methods have gotten really sophisticated and look really nice, and it became very quickly apparent to me that I was not satisfied with the way mine was looking whenever I looked at some of the results on some different people's blogs. So what I did is I bought that Painting Wargames tanks by it's put out by Ammo, Mig Jimenez. I think it's by Ruben Torregrosa and Mig Jimenez. And I looked on different websites, and people, Ruben, I think on Heresy Brush, he has a website called Heresy Brush and Model Brush, and he does a tutorial in there. Anyway, I don't want to ramble for too long, but I really loved the way their results looked, so I decided to buy a bunch of MiG ammo products, and I'm going to repaint this tank from the beginning. So I know it might be a mistake to do this, but I'm going to reprime this in gray and do a little bit of pre-shading, and then do all of the MiG products on it. Okay, here we go. MiG surface primer, Model Master enamel thinner. What I'm going to try to do now is some pre-shading with black, and I have this HP Iwata. It's an HPC, and at one point I purchased a tip that it's a fine spray nozzle tip, and I'm going to change that out on the airbrush to try to get a little bit tighter line. I want to do some pre-shading in various areas here. So I figured I'd get my airbrush hood out of the way, and I just applied satin varnish to this. It's dry. It didn't take very long to dry, but it's a protective layer. It's going to protect the decals and the paint underneath it. So the next thing we're going to do now is this brown for dark green vehicles filter, and this will tone the tank down. So I've been looking forward to getting to this step. The paints that I used to apply the modulation were this MIG US Armor camouflage set. It has 3 paints in here to get a modulation effect on the vehicles. It sort of exaggerates the highlighting of the vehicle, and some people are not a fan of this effect, but I think it looks pretty cool. When you apply the filter, it tones everything down, so we're going to take a look at that now. Okay, so that's the top and the front. It's already toned down quite a bit. And we'll do the sides. Yeah, the overall effect of this is really nice. It's toning everything down. So it's kind of cool. I've never worked with this method before of using filters and all that, but yeah, I must say it looks nice. Whoop. Okay, let's get the turret. I'm really expecting great things out of this turret because I painted the turret pretty light. So we'll see what happens. And this is dramatically toning down this tank. We'll get the barrel here. This filter is working nice. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to dry all of this, but it looks good. Let's go back to the tank and see. Yeah, see, it's basically already dried, and it's been toned down quite a bit. So I'm going to start hitting the suspension assembly here. Alright, that looks nice. So now we're ready for the underbelly. Look at how much that toned that down. So yeah, this is cool. Okay, the next thing we're going to put on is Trax Wash. It's another enamel wash. I'm going to try this dry step and turned earth. These are the, well, splashes in heavy mud. But I'm just going to try some random colors and stipple them on while the tracks are still damp. Same thing, except now instead of dry steps we're going to do turned earth. And we're going to do the pin wash, which is with this dark brown wash for green vehicles. Do is go in with a cotton bud or a brush and clean up. That looks fantastic. Can't wait to do the chipping on this. Set that aside. Now let's tackle this tank. The first thing we're going to do is this streaking grime, and this is a pretty impressive, important step, and let's give it a go. Okay, time to remove the streaking or fade the streaking using a damp, flat brush. And this is something that you can do more than once. You don't like the result. Okay, I did the streaking, and I also fixed up the hatches, closed the one hatch here, and also I closed the hatches on the turret. So they're not the best looking, but I'm going to try to do a little bit of cleanup on them a little bit later to make them look a little nicer and do some detailing on them. So I'm not that worried about that. Let's try some chipping. New wood. and olive drab shine. Okay, German camo black brown for the chipping. Okay, now we're going to do some weathering. This is one of the areas that I'm the least confident in, but from everything that I've read, people usually take a couple varieties of pigments and mix them, and I'm going to go for using Europe Earth pigment, and then I have a really old box of MIG pigments, and this is another Europe Dust. And one of them is lighter than the other. They're fairly close, but I'm going to try mixing the two of these just for some variety. So I'm going to put these out in my palette and then stipple them on the tank in various locations, and then after that I'm going to hit them with thinner and let it soak it in. So we'll see how this goes. Just, I don't know, randomly adding for some different tonalities. Okay, so what a mess. Now, what we've got to do, set that aside for a little bit. What we have to do is go in with the thinner, odorless thinner, and basically touch it to the miniature. Touch it to the model and let it soak in, and then wait a minute or two and wipe it off. That's the turret done. Well, it's been soaked anyway. Let's do the wheels. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to go ahead and hit these tracks the same way. So well, that really looks ugly. Even though it looks like you're taking most of it off, when it dries, there is a surprising amount that is still on it. Like a scary amount. So, you know, I'm kind of going against my own instincts here when I'm rubbing this off. But when it dries, there's still a lot on it. In terms of the dirt and everything, I'm calling this one pretty well done. Let's hit the tank. And there's one thing I want to say about tanks, just doing tanks in general. When you look online and you see pictures, actual combat footage of tanks, it's impossible for you to make a tank too dirty. It's not how much dirt you put on a tank, it's how you put it on. And if you use tried and true methods, it'll look great. But I've seen plenty of pictures of tanks where they were absolutely filthy. With the tracks starting to dry, they are definitely looking very, very realistic. The variation in the powders that I put on here is making it look so realistic. This is going to be sweet. And then I'm going to go in with a pencil and rub the tracks, you know, to get the metal to come out. But man, those look so realistic now. Oh my gosh. And I haven't even done any mud splashes yet. All I've done is just the pigments. Now this is going to be some of the stuff that I clean up. There's like little spots where the pigment is kind of going in a way I don't want it to go. So I'm going to try to go back in and wipe a little bit more. That turret looks mighty fine, actually, right now. It's a real dusty tank at this point, but it's not really dirty, like muddy. And these fuel stains, they're very realistic. You're not overdoing it to paint them on this miniature right here. There's plenty of photographs that I've noticed after I saw guys paint this on. There's plenty of photographs of Shermans where they have all these fuel stains, like right here. It seems like they come back in, you know, they're around the gas caps, but what they do is they drain down here kind of behind this, whatever you want to call it, this flange. There you go. Perfect. Fresh engine oil. Watch this. This is a pencil lead stick. Graphite stick. So in order to seal this, to make it okay for painting or for wargaming, I'm going to have to spray it with flat varnish. Otherwise this graphite's going to rub right off. Ooh, this is awesome. This looks great. Okay, I'm going to call this pretty well done. It's nearly 11 o'clock. I'm going to post pictures of it online, and I will do the lenses tomorrow. I got a lot done today. This is nice. Signing off.